Hello, I'm Gina Taylor, Vice President of Communications and Marketing for Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Suncoast. On today's show, we will be discussing the 100 Men in 100 Days campaign. While Big Brothers Big Sisters accepts volunteers from all walks of life, there is a greater need for male mentors. I'm excited today to have with us three amazing gentlemen and big brothers, Rich Puckett, Dave Potter, and Carlos Bates. Welcome, guys. It's so good to have you all with us.
Thank you.
You know, we are actively recruiting volunteers, and especially during this time of our 100 Men, 100 Day campaign, we're looking for those positive role models. We have quite a few boys that are waiting, so we always are looking for those wonderful men to match with our littles that are waiting for a big brother. Rich, you've been a long time big brother with Big Brothers Big Sisters. What was it that piqued your interest in becoming a big brother? You know, and tell us a little bit about that. How did you come into the organization, and what made you just want to sign on and become a big?
Well, many years ago, when I was 9 years old, I had the benefit and life-changing opportunity to be a little brother. I had a big brother when I was much younger. I used to do spend a lot of time at Boys and Girls Club back in Newark, New Jersey, and met a young man who was just out of college who joined a mentoring program called Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I was able to get matched with him back then, and it's been something that stayed with me and I think really had a dramatic effect on some of the decisions I made as a young teenager, going into adulthood, whereas growing up in the inner city, you could make a lot of bad mistakes and a lot of bad choices, and he was just a positive role model that helped me make some really good decisions. And I thought, why not give back, and why not do it again and become a big brother myself? And I did that, 25 years ago or so, and loved every single minute. Every single minute has been rewarding, as much for me as for the children that I've had the opportunity to mentor.
Well, that is awesome. That's awesome. It's like the pay it forward. We hear that a lot, and
right.
Thank you for that. Carlos, tell us a little bit how you became involved and became a wonderful big brother.
Well, I'm not originally from the area. I moved to the Sarasota area in 2010, and as a youth in Buffalo, New York, I participated in various, mentor programs, educational programs. So I understood the value of being a mentor and being a mentee, and how that affected my life. And I couldn't find a better vehicle than Big Brothers Big Sisters to affect a change upon a young person's life. I thought it was a great organization, and becoming more familiar with the local contacts here, it's Big Brothers Big Sisters does a phenomenal job.
That's great, and we thank you very much for being the big brother that you are to your little brother. Dave, how about you?
I was first introduced to Big Brothers and Big Sisters through my daughter, who's now 45. And she was a young adult who, not yet married, single, flexible, up in the Boston area, and on her own volition decided to become a big sister. And I got to kind of observe, not interfere, but observe her and observe the impact she was having not only on her little, but also on what she was having on herself, growing personally. So then it was a matter of timing with Dave, and I retired last year and had been working in youth services for about 25 years, and being familiar with Big Brothers and Big Sisters, just picked up the phone and called and said, I think I want to do this now, and it's exceeded my expectations. It's been terrific.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you. And we have two core programs. A lot of people are very familiar with our traditional community base that they think of. And many times when I'm out in the community, a lot of people are not familiar with our school base, and then, oh, okay, and I can do this, an hour a week. It's really all it takes. And I know, Dave, that you're actively involved with your little brother in our school base as well as community. But I thought, if you want to share with the audience a little bit about what it what your day entails, what it looks like, things that you do with your little in our school-based program. And then I'm going to let Rich and Carlos talk about the community-based.
Sure. I think, Gina, because I had been working with the schools as a volunteer in different capacities for the last 10 years, it was a natural for me to inquire about the school-based program, because I had never heard of it, and was delighted to find out that was an opportunity. So going into the schools an hour a week and was natural. And I've got a terrific little who has not been blessed with the ideal circumstances. He's in fact moved 4 times in 5 years, so had to change schools. And I don't know if people can realize just how challenging that is, to keep changing schools and still maintain academic standings. So that's been challenging, and hopefully that's not going to continue. But the part of it that's been really rewarding is working as a team, working with the teacher. I think since he's not necessarily able to do grade appropriate work, but close to it, and we're getting there, we'll get there. The teacher is giving me appropriate assignments. So when I meet with him over there, we're not necessarily doing homework that the other students are doing right now. We might be doing homework that is a precursor to that. And the teachers are amazing, that they take the special time to work with me and that student, keeping in mind they have 25 other students over there, and kind of personalize the homework that I work with them each week. And it's pretty meaningful, and we're starting to see results.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up about working with the staff and the teachers, because we do, at Big Brothers Big Sisters, we have a great relationship with our school systems. And they realize that we are there to help. You know, it's a win-win for both the school district, for that child, and you as the volunteer. And I think coming into the school, and those teachers and staff at each school, seeing that we do have such an impact on that child's education as well as their social and emotional life, has just really been, you know, a great thing for this community.
Kind of a comment the other day that makes you feel good is when you walk into the classroom, everybody stands up and everybody wants a big, which is why we're here today.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Rich, you have been, you know, like we've said, and the audience has heard, a longtime Big Brother. Talk to us about, you're so active in our community-based.
Right.
Tell us some of the things that, you know, that you've done in the community base, what it's all about. So if someone who didn't know, you know, oh, you've got your little brother, you know, what does that mean? And you're out in the community. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay, you know, just to add to what you were talking about a minute ago, to echo your sentiment about 1 hour a week. You know, our programs start as little as that, so there's really no excuse from a time standpoint why someone can't become a mentor. Time is just not an issue. 1 hour, we all have it. In the community-based program, which I've been lucky enough to be in for a good while now, we do things with our little brothers and little sisters around the community. Whether it be go to a movie, go out to get something to eat, you know, go throw a ball around, go fishing, all those good things that we like to do. We kind of instill that, you know, with our littles as well. Nice thing about the community-based program is they get an opportunity to see all of the things that Big Brothers and Big Sisters is doing to help the community. Because I make sure that my littles are giving back and they're involved in as much of the volunteer work as we have. We have a lot of events that they get to go to. But also, I think that they get a chance to see that people in the community like myself and all the other mentors are taking their time to hopefully make a difference in their life, and it will instill in them to do the same as they get older. And as you mentioned earlier, pay it forward. And you know, I've said this since the first day I've ever been a mentor is when I finally made the decision to do it, it was the greatest decision I ever made, because I have just as much fun as they do, because I'm doing all the fun things, you know, that they're doing. It's just great. I mean, once you do it, you'll wonder why you didn't do it before. So. And
we hear that over and over.
Right.
Tell me, you know, the flexibility, because a lot of times, you know, they'll say, well, I'm seasonal, or, you know, I work full time, as you all do. You know, you're businessmen in this community, very full schedules with not only your work, but your social life. But talk a little bit about that flexibility, because like you said, it is an hour a week. It's your time and what works for you, as well as, you know, for that child. But you do make it work, and it can work. So,
well, as far as a community-based program goes, which, it can be a couple hours one week and a few hours another week. In my business, for example, I travel quite a bit, but Big Brothers and Big Sisters puts together so many events that we can go to that happen. Some happen during the week. I know there's one coming up in a couple of weeks at the Van Wezel with the Beijing Circus. So there's lots of things like that that go on, so we can make sure that we get them around other littles and other bigs. But I can always find time. My wife's very engaged as well, and she, really is a cheerleader for what we're doing. And a couple hours on a Saturday, it's just there, and it's not hard to do. And I leave it up to. We have a thing. I have two littles now. I have two brothers actually, and I leave it up to them. One time I pick. Next time it's up to them to pick what we do. And it doesn't have to cost any money. It just has to be something that's going to be meaningful, where we get a chance to talk. Because I don't just want to sit in a movie theater. So it's just, it's just out there. And in Big Brothers, I will tell any people thinking about being a mentor, you will get all the support necessary to be great at mentoring.
Thanks. Carlos, I know that you have a great relationship with your little brother. Tell us a little bit about that and some things that you do in the community and your community-based experience.
Well, my typical interaction with my little, it depends upon what time of year it is typically. If it's an academic year, I try to make sure that we focus on his school first. That's typically the first thing I'll ask him, how are your grades, how are classes going, what projects do you have due? Just to kind of keep them focused on, what's the most important thing. We are in a society where, entertainers and athletes are kind of glorified, but I try to impress upon him that, education is the key to everything, and to make sure that he understands that and he sees that in our interaction. So we try to make sure that the work is taken care of first and foremost if it's, during the school year. If it's not during the school year, then we have fun. Big Brothers, they do a fantastic job in terms of notifying us what's going on in the area, and much of it is free or it's very cheap. I'm fortunate that I don't have any children or any type of family that would kind of take away from my time with my little. So yes, it may only be an hour, but I typically, because I enjoy spending so much time with them, we'll typically spend a greater majority of a weekend together if I'm not traveling. And an hour turns into 2 or 3. So those are typically things we kind of focus on. I want him to focus on his education, so that's typically the first thing he'll get from me is, how are your grades? Are you keeping up with everything in classes? Are you engaged in your classes? Are you talking to your teacher? Just to make sure that is a drive home for him. But I also try to expose him to some things he may not typically get a chance to do. Museums, field outings, we'll go for bike rides, just to show him there's a whole nother world outside of his world that he currently lives in, just to give an appreciation of what's out there for him in the area. And again, the Big Brothers, Big Sisters, they send notifications to me. So, I find out, since I'm not from this area, I find out a lot about what's going on in the area, which is kind of neat for me as well.
We have such a giving community, and as you all know, Big Brothers Big Sisters does provide activities. We call them match activities for our Big Brothers Big Sisters and their little sisters and little brothers. And it's amazing the amount of, the opportunities that they give. Visit museums, visit the sporting events, the arts, the festivals, and we have so much going on in this community. Throughout all of our footprint, and I like that you brought that up, because it really doesn't cost money. We want you to spend the time with the child, and we do not ask that you give money. We try to provide things for them. And I also like that you talked about, many times people will say, well, do I need to help this child with their academics? We're not a tutoring organization, but as you said, you're really addressing that whole child. You're looking at, you have to make sure they're doing well in school. And, sometimes, all right, I got to make sure that homework is done, and then we can go out and play and have fun. So that's a great point. All right, I do not want y'all to be shy about this. I want you to, we're not going to be modest here. And I'm going to start with you, Carlos. You have had a huge impact on Cedric. If he was sitting here today and I said to him, what impact has your big brother Carlos had on your life? And in return, how has he changed your life? I'd like to hear that.
I think he would say that I've shown him the importance of just giving back, how important that is, how you don't have to be a specific age, you can do it at any age, and you can give back in your own special way. I try to show him that he belongs wherever he feels that he belongs, that, regardless of our backgrounds, our economic standings, that, we're all human beings, and that we all strive for the same things. I try to let him observe me in different settings so that he can kind of see, again, that there's no mystery in how we interact, and to break down certain stereotypes of interaction, and so he can kind of demystify certain assumptions he may have about other cultures and other things that he may not be normally exposed to. I think that's what he would, kind of typically say in terms of the impact I've had on his life. The impact he's had on my life, to be quite frank, he allows me to kind of give the best bits of myself without the pain and headaches of what it took to learn those things. So for me, I'm allowed to pour some of my best learned lessons into him, and to kind of feed that mentoring hunger that I have to kind of give back, that something that was kind of passed down to me. So, I enjoy spending time with the young man as much as I can express. He's an amazing young man, and it's been a tremendous honor for me to kind of see him come out of his shell. Because one thing, when people see us out in the community that he knows, his teachers or his coaches, they go, "How did you get him to talk?" That's the first question. They go, "How'd you get him to talk?" And I said, "Well, we just talk." We built a rapport from day one, and now we're to the point where he'll tell me some things that he may not typically immediately tell his mom, in terms of kind of what's going on in his life. And it's really it's not about trying to be a parent or to fulfill some particular thing. It's just to be a friend. I remember one of the other bigs in a meeting said one day that these kids are going to listen to somebody. Who would you rather let them listen to? And that kind of just stuck with me. And I just try to give him my best learned lessons, and hopefully he soaks up as much as possible. But I know if he's like any of us, sometimes we have to learn the lessons the hard way. But he seems to really kind of open up to what I have to say, and it's been a pleasure in our interaction.
That's a testimony to you, though, and that's the trust, just like those teachers and friends saying, "How'd you get him to open up and talk?" Well, because you've established that trust. Right. And he does not feel threatened by you, and that's awesome. Thank you, though, for sharing that. All right, Dave, let's hear no holds bar now. We want to know what impact, I know you've had an impact, and what would he say you have done, and what has he done for you?
As far as what he would say, I think I'm a strong proponent of formal education, and have probably tried to ingrain that, indoctrinate that into him. And it's only been a year I've been working with him right now, but and I think kids nowadays learn a little differently than my generation. I don't think you just tell them to study hard, get good test grades, and their life will be good, or they'll have a big house or a fancy car. I think you have to make it relevant and relate it to something short term. And if he is successful in this test, this will happen. And education provides options, not only in high school and college and graduate school, but also as elementary school, it provides options. And so I try to, every time we meet, in a different way, remind him of how important education is, because it's not always cool to like school in the elementary school ages, and peer pressure is a lot. And so I think it's just, I think he's gradually getting the message that school is important and it's not optional. I have to go to school, and if I do better in school, I'm going to have a lot better life and a lot more choices to make. I hope that's what he would say.
I'm sure he would. Thank you for that. Rich, what about your...
Well, could I give my impact too?
Oh, you absolutely
Excuse
can.
Me, Rich.
That's okay.
I think being considerably older than the other two panel members here and being a grandfather, my impact is rather unique. I look at these as partnerships. I think all these relationships work much better when they're partnerships, and I'm proud to say I'm a grandfather, and I'm not proud to say they live a long way away.
Oh.
And so I love my little guy dearly, and he's almost my grandson here in town. I get to do things with him that I don't get to do with my grandchildren, and that's a special impact that he's had on me, and I appreciate that very much.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you. Rich?
Well, these two gentlemen kind of summed it up pretty well. I think if you asked Freddie, my current little, I think it'd be responsibility and taking some responsibility for the things that they're doing when we're not together. Carlos mentioned that their economic background, where they live, the challenges they have, that they don't have a lot of control over. They don't have, Freddie has no control over the socioeconomic environment he lives in, but he has a lot of control over what happens in the future. Mm-hmm. So we talk a lot about that. We talk a lot about, like you just mentioned, every action has a reaction. It's the kind of you don't know what you don't know kind of thing. And we spent a lot of time talking about what happened this week and did you learn anything from that. And I think, I'm not there to be the parent. I'm there to be someone that he can feel comfortable talking to and sharing something that he might not share with someone else. So my first mentor said something to me that I'll never forget. He said, from this day forward, you control what happens to you. No one else does. So inspect what you expect is what he said to me. So if things aren't going the right way, there's a reason. And hopefully that's what he would say. And as far as the impact on me, it's been immeasurable. I mean, I'm a grandfather as well recently. Changes your life, and these are the things I want to impart to the kids is you have so much to look forward to. Just make good decisions, and we're here to help you along to do that.
Well, with that said, it's obvious, and I would think that our viewing audience would see the impact. I love for people to talk about the impact, not only that you all and volunteers have on a child, but look what it's done to you. Look how it's changed your life, and it truly does, and we hear that a lot. All right, so in wrapping up here, with our audience that will be watching, and just people hearing from you all as a big brother in your experience, what would you say to those that are watching today about becoming a big? And obviously we're doing our 100 Men. It's our Big Brother campaign. From a Big Brother standpoint, we love our big sisters and welcome those as well. But what would you say to those men who maybe are hesitant to step up? What would you say, Carlos?
What I say right now is, typically to anyone that I'm trying to encourage to be part of the program, is that it's not as difficult as you think. Sometimes we make mountains out of molehills, and we make it seem like we have to have everything align up in our lives perfectly in order to give. But you don't have to, because we're all imperfect, and we're not going to reach that ideal time always. But they're not looking for you to be perfect. They're just looking for you to be an ear. And it doesn't take much to be a blessing to someone else, because what is very small to you can be very huge to someone else. And even if it's an hour, it's very impactful. As I look back over my life and the mentors and the people who've had an impact in my life, it may have been a small gesture, a small thing that they've done for me that I remember to this day. And that's what I would say to anyone who's looking to become a part of the program, that it's not as difficult as you think, and it doesn't take as much time as you think that it does. But the good aspect of it is that you'll find out that it's kind of infectious. Once you spend a little time, you want to spend more time, you want to do more, because you see the results of your interaction, and it makes you hungry for more interaction. It makes you hungry to touch the lives of these young men, of these individuals, to make a difference.
Rich, what about you?
I just say, step up, be a mentor, give back a little bit. As Carlos mentioned again so eloquently, that you get hungrier as you start to do it. You start to see some success. You start to feel that you're making a difference. And golly, the support that you get from Big Brothers Big Sisters, you don't really need to know anything about mentoring. There's classes all the time, and you don't have to worry about, will I have this kid's future in my hands. Just one step at a time. And it just, to the men out there, I'm going to tell you, it's just, again, step up. Life is all about showing up. And I think the kids know that, and they see that. So come on, guys.
And Dave, what about you?
I would say don't be afraid. Because of the support that's provided by Big Brothers and Big Sisters, I'm a sports addict. So in the first thing, when they interviewed me and got to know me real well in order to do a good match, sports came up pretty early in the conversation, sports and kids. And there was a natural there. But they try to match you up with somebody that has similar interests, even though they may only be 9 or 10 or 11 years of age. And with me, it made the transition real easy. We had a lot of things in common, a lot of things to talk about on the first date, so it really worked out well. The second thing would be, don't say you don't have enough time. It isn't that much time, and the old acronym, busy people find ways to do things and find time to do things that they find meaningful and enjoy, and you're going to love it, and you're going to find time for it. So I agree. I like what Rich said about step up, but mine would be don't be afraid. You can do it, and you can really make a difference, and you're going to feel good about it.
I want to thank you all so much. I think it's been a great show. I think people have learned a lot hearing from Big Brothers right here. Wonderful Big Brothers, I might add. And I want to thank you all for what you do every day for these littles. You have changed their lives. You will continue to change their lives, and it's been wonderful. And in closing, I want to thank Charles Clapsaddle and the amazing staff of METV for the opportunity to share our 100 Men in 100 Days campaign with you and the community, and for the production of this show. Special thanks to our guests and Big Brothers, Rich Puckett, Dave Potter, and Carlos Bates. Mentoring is one of the most rewarding, enjoyable, and simple things a volunteer can do. For as little as 1 hour a week, volunteers can add joy to the life of a child and ultimately contribute greatly to his or her potential. If you would like to learn more about becoming a Big Brother or Big Sister, please call the number on your screen or visit our website. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.